They'll
you got to
definitely
keep
be.
people out of there. You got to keep people away from that bridge. And the first thing I'm going to want to do is go check out the bridge. But then I'll think, no, bad boy.
All right, it's 4 o'clock. Are we ready to get study session kicked off, Mr. McNeely?
That it is. Chair Burton. Let's see, who all do we have with us? We've got you, the Vice Chair. I see Commissioner Bess. I see Commissioner Williams. I see Commissioner Walsh. I see Commissioner Berger. I see Commissioner. We have a quorum. Not that we need one for study session, but at least we know where we're standing right now.
Nice.
So yeah, thanks, Chair Burton, and welcome, commissioners. Doesn't look like we have any members of the public. I think we're just all commissioners and staff right now. Welcome to your study session, and I'm hoping this will go pretty quick. First on your agenda are 3 items that will be on your public hearing agenda next month, or we anticipate on your public hearing agenda next month. First
Can you
two
enlarge
are
it, Jess?
Pardon?
Can you enlarge it?
Absolutely. Is that better? Legible?
Looks good. Thanks.
All right.
Can you guys hear the any noise in my background?
Nope.
Okay, thanks.
So Bob Short with our staff is managing these first 2 items. So Bob, if you want to give the commission a quick overview of these 2.
Sure, thanks, Mr. McNeely. Good afternoon, Commission. If this first case is LaFreight RV as a residence. So in this case, the property owner is Andrew LaFreight, Flagstaff, and the location's on a kind of a fun place, 23 Fun Valley Road, Snowball Estates. And this is an RV as a permanent residence in the AR5 zone on a 5.3 acre parcel. And this is the location of it. We're out here kind of in the middle of nowhere, north of the peaks. And this is Kendrick Park for reference right here. And this is another picture of the Snowball Estates number 2. You can see there's a little bit of scattered development here. And this applicant wants to put an RV down here on this parcel. This is the rudimentary site plan. So you can see the location of the RV. And this is a photo of the RV. Yeah, the applicant had a neighborhood meeting. 2 people attended, probably from the local subdivision. No concerns were raised. So are there any questions from the commission on this case?
Mr. Short, the RV is already there. Is that correct?
That's my understanding. It is. We, as you may know, we have a 120-day permit.
Right.
For
I'm
RVs.
just curious.
Yeah.
So the neighbors would have seen what it's going to look like. So, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
All right, any other questions? Okay.
Next one up. Give me a second here. Okay, and this is the Katz RV as a residence, CUP 2559. In this case, the applicant is Sylvan Katz of Williams, actually of Valley. He does live on this property now. It's at 3671 Carmen Road in Valley. It's on one of those standard 1 acre lots in the agricultural residential zone. And it's an RV as a permanent residence. And this is the location of it, as you can see. And this is the Valley area, Valley intersection, Valley Airport, Highway 180. It's really close, right by the highway. It's 1 lot off from the highway. So this is a aerial photo showing the property. You can see a little bit of scattered development around. This is the highway going through. And this is another very rudimentary site plan, but he has shown that it looks like the pad is 72 feet from the property line, so it's going to meet setbacks pretty well. And he had a neighborhood meeting, and no one attended the meeting. He did get one comment in support, and that was because he apparently has improved the road out there. So the person commenting was appreciative of that. Any questions on this one?
How is the screening? And did they provide a image of what the RV looks like?
No, they didn't provide an image of what it looks like. They did provide the type of RV, which is one of those. It also has a cab. It's like one of those kind of van-looking RVs, but it's larger in the back. I looked it up, but I didn't know exactly which one he had, so I didn't want to provide a picture of it. I'll get one when I go out there. But no, he has not proposed any screening, so we can.
Is that something that we need to be considering when they're in such close proximity to a major artery?
The commission can certainly consider that. Yes, I mean, it's a CUP, so if you wanted to put conditions like that on it, that's certainly something commission could consider.
I think it's maybe a topic for discussion at roundtable or something.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Anybody else have any questions? Yep.
I put my hand up. This is Tina, Commissioner Berger. I guess my only thought is, having family RVs in the past, if they start turning into toy haulers, then there's other parameters or other concerns that I think we probably would want to talk about.
What kind of concerns would that be, Commissioner Berger?
Well, that means ATVs, motorcycles, all
Right.
off-road. So I'm just curious. I don't know enough about, I'm kind of new to the commission, so I'm just bringing up questions. So moving forward, I don't ever have to bring them up again.
Right.
But if it's a toy hauler, it's going to have fuel powered, vehicles running around it and around the highway and everywhere else. So just a thought.
Yeah, these typically, Commissioner Berger, these typically get set up as permanent residence, so it's an RV that they live in. But yeah, they definitely have off-road vehicles sometimes, just like any property could have. I've definitely seen some of these that have off-road vehicles, but they typically park them outside. They don't. Sometimes they'll move them back and forth, but most often I think they're just there all the time. They just set them up and leave them.
Okay, I've seen them out there, so just a question. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Let's look at CUP 25060.
Yeah, thanks, Chair Burton. Sophie is managing that case. Sophie Cosa, and she is already sharing her screen. So go ahead, Sophie.
Thank you. This is Collins 4,000 square foot accessory structure and metal storage containers, CUP 2560. The owner and applicant is Susan and Clarence Collins out of Flagstaff, Arizona, and the property is located at 11735 Homestead Lane in Timberline. The zoning on the property is residential single family with a 40,000 square foot minimum. And the request is for a modification of an expired conditional use permit, which was for a 4,000 square foot accessory structure, and also for the addition of 2 8x20 metal storage containers to that conditional use permit. And the lot is 2.33 acres large. So for the 4,000 square foot accessory structure, it was approved in 2019 and expired without renewal in 2024. The main use is for vehicle storage or garage space, and the applicant is also requesting 2 8x20 foot metal storage containers, and they're planning on painting them in earth tone color to match with the accessory structure, and also are planning on relocating them to be behind the accessory structure. And these are for boat and off-road vehicle storage as well as related gear. So this is a vicinity map showing the subject property highlighted in blue. It's towards the end of a cul-de-sac about a half-mile west of Highway 89. And this is an aerial photo of the property, so you can see the accessory structure on the western side there. And then these two are the metal storage containers located to the rear of the property. And then you can also see there's a good amount of vehicles and storage on the property of miscellaneous material. This photo is from the beginning of 2025, so I'm not sure how much of this remains on the property, but that's something I'll figure out for hearing next month. And then this is the site plan, again, showing the accessory structure and then the location of the two metal storage containers that they're planning on moving. And this is a photo of the existing accessory structure. And these are the two metal storage containers right now. They're currently painted blue and red, but this color sample they provided at the bottom is what they plan on painting them upon approval. And for their citizen participation plan, they held a meeting on November 5th, which 0 people attended. Their previous conditional use permit had no opposition, and staff have received no comments on this case. With that, are there any questions?
I have a question, is regarding it. So I know we set time limits at that time. Are we still setting time limits on accessory buildings? Because that's a huge expense for someone to put up. And I think that's just, if we approve a building, it just needs to be approved. If they tear it down or something, then yeah, they need to go through the process again. But I mean, is there a reason that, can we just say, like, you don't have to come back for the 4,000 square feet again?
Great question, Chair Burton. And we did update, this would have probably just predated the 2019 overhaul of the zoning ordinance. So we made it more explicit in the zoning ordinance that conditional use permits that are built for a specific purpose like this do not have an expiration date. And therefore do not require renewal. That's also at the same time we made it possible to renew. If you require renewal, you could do it administratively and not have to come to hearing. So this will be a great opportunity to clean this up with an update to this conditional use permit. They'll add the metal storage containers, and we would anticipate assuming there's no change in the future, that it would not require renewal of their conditional use permit.
Now, because we're adding those storage containers, did we change the zoning so that storage containers are like approved indefinitely, or is that something that should be kind of?
They can be approved indefinitely. They can be approved without an expiration would be the more precise way to communicate it. But yeah, they can be approved without an expiration. Sometimes an expiration does get added to conditional use permits when there's opposition, honestly, when there's concern of, let's see what this looks like in 5 years.
Okay, yeah, I'm just wondering if, because storage, they can get ugly over time. So I'm not necessarily in favor of those being like indefinitely approved, because I think that, maybe in 10 or 15 years, they might need to repaint. So that's why I'm just wondering, potentially how to handle this one if I see no reason not to just have no expiration on the large structure, but I do see a reason to have an expiration or a renewal process to where we double check and make sure they're not looking horrible.
Sounds good.
Okay, Vice Chair Wilson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was curious to know, it appears this could be a commercial or semi-commercial operation. When you look at Google Earth Street View, there's commercial towing vehicles there. Is this applicant proposing any commercial use for this property at all?
They are not, no.
Okay. Thank you.
Are there any other questions for this one? Okay, I'm not seeing any. Thank you, Sophie. All right, let's move on to the Community Development Department update. Jess, you're muted.
Thanks, Chair Burton. And Melissa's with us, Ms. Shaw, the long range planner, and she can give us an overview of the long range planning projects and where we're at on them.
Good evening, commissioners. Happy holidays. Nice to see you all. Yeah, so just a quick update. You all, these are actually one and the same, the Board of Supervisors update and Community Development Department update. On November 18th, the board approved unanimously to adopt the comprehensive plan. So that is now in place. We are working with the designer to get the final edits made to the plan, and then we'll have that up on the website and the final draft, including that companion guide, which everybody seems to appreciate, available for download. So yeah, we're working to get that done as soon as possible this month. So that's up and ready to go. And then in terms of the next steps for long range planning, then we'll move into the implementation phase of the comprehensive plan, which would entail working with the commission as well as the Board of Supervisors to set priorities on area plan updates, as well as the action items that are in the comprehensive plan, and how the comprehensive plan does give an idea of high, medium, and low priority items, and obviously working with the commission and the board on selecting those and which ones to move forward with immediately. So that's where we are with both the comprehensive plan and the next steps for implementing it. Any questions?
Vice Chair Wilson.
Michelle, we received earlier today a letter from a Mr. Gallagher, I think it was, about the regional plan and Envision 2045. Have you had a chance to see that letter, and do you have any thoughts about it?
So we'll discuss that letter later this evening in relation to the public hearing on the regional plan. But the portion of the letter that addressed the comprehensive plan was reviewed by the Board of Supervisors. So they saw that letter with their public hearing, and that there were no changes to the comprehensive plan based on that particular letter and the comments in that letter.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions on this? Not seeing any. All right. So that was those two. So we're at roundtable.
Yes.
All right. Election of chair and co-chair at next month's hearing.
Apologize. That should say vice chair.
Yeah. Chair and vice chair. I mean, co-vice. Yeah. Minor difference, but only minor. So my recommendation, because I do need to step back from being chair, at least for the time being. So I'd like to recommend that Vice Chair Wilson, that we put him into the chair position. Is there any discussion, conversation, anything that commissioners wish to have right now? Commissioner
I
Berger?
guess that means you then. I'm in agreement. And that's all. Just wanted to say it.
Okay.
Sounds
Commissioner
good to
Lynch?
me.
Okay.
Okay,
There you
yeah, that thumb, yeah, I'm in agreement.
Commissioner Leslie, you have your hand up. Commissioner Leslie?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with that.
Okay.
I am in agreement with that thought also.
It sounds like you might have some pretty bad reception where you're at right now. All right, Commissioner Walsh?
I'm in agreement with that. I think there's a congratulations in order for Vice Chair Wilson with the sale of his business. Heard about it at the neighborhood watch meeting. And number two, I'd like to nominate as Vice Chair replacement Commissioner Best.
Anyone have any other thoughts? Vice Chair Wilson?
My first thought is thanks to you for all the hard work of getting us to this point. And my second would be thanks to my fellow commissioners for the support. And I look forward to trying to fill your footsteps.
Okay. I am also willing to step in as vice chair, so that is entirely up to the commission. I just needed to have a little time. I've got some health stuff, so I don't mind stepping in as needed. So, but I will leave that up to the commission's discretion. So, all right, we'll let everybody ponder on that. And that, unless there's anything else that we want to discuss at roundtable.
Chair Burton, we did discuss last month the desire for a Planning and Zoning Commission retreat in the spring, and staff would propose either February or March. So we wanted to toss that out now and see at your regular meeting, which is always last Wednesday of the month, February, or well, your regular meeting is the last Wednesday of the month, but within those months, we would try to offset it, your retreat within that month. And if of all the commissioners present, would either February or March, so we'd probably be looking in the first half of the month. Does February or March absolutely not work, or is there a strong preference for one or the other?
Jess, think about school spring break. I don't know how many people have kids or grandkids, but that could be a conflict. And I think probably a lot of March, probably after the first week, with various school districts, you might lose people to spring breaks.
Good point. So it sounds like February might be a better probability for everyone.
February is a really dead month, and it would be great. That's the month that I like to go to Hawaii. And so, let's go somewhere warm. Let's go to Sedona. Do you still have contacts in Sedona?
We'll just all join SOT in Hawaii.
We could probably do a retreat. The last couple we've done at Fort Tuthill because it's free to use the conference room there at Fort Tuthill. But we could look around at places to hold a meeting.
And I'm fine with Fort Tuthill, but I'm always open to something fun.
All right. Well, and if there's any other discussion on preferred days for it, that's great. And then we'd like to know any topics.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask what dates we're looking at because quite a few of us, I think, still work. So it's difficult.
What does that mean, work?
Oh yeah, that full time. So it's easier for me to be able to get away on a Friday, but
okay.
Vice Chair Wilson, you have your hand up.
As far as topics, one that I would like to toss out for consideration would be what is the actual role of our commission? What is our mission statement? And getting that clearly identified. I think that should be a goal of ours, is to have a mission statement of what we are here to do. Thanks.
All right. We can certainly go to what the zoning ordinance specifies that the commission is doing. We can start with that.
And I think we have enough new people that we need to do the standard again of, the procedural stuff and open meeting law, all that fun stuff, because we do have a lot of newer faces on the commission in recent months. So
absolutely.
Yeah, it might be fun to do a little history of how things have progressed since there was basically no zoning ordinance, and just a short history of zoning process in Coconino County.
Absolutely.
You know, we do hit things that are grandfathered. What does that mean? You know, how'd that happen?
Mm-hmm. We hit that a lot.
Mhm.
All right. That's some great direction. Appreciate it.
All right. If there's nothing else for roundtable, then we can have ourselves a nice little break before the public hearing.
Thank you, Chair
Okay.
Burton. We'll jump back on and wow, an hour.
Yeah, an hour. Yeah.
All right. Thank you
All
much.
right.
All right.
Okay, Mr. McNeely, it is 5:30. Are we ready to get started?
Good evening, Chair Burton. Yes, staff is ready for your 5:30 public hearing.
Okay, and it looks like the only person not in attendance today is Commissioner Hayward. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, he had let us know ahead of time that he was not planning on attending.
Okay. All right. Welcome to the December 3rd, 2025 meeting of the Coconino County Planning and Zoning Commission. Cases will be heard in the order they appear on the agenda. Following the staff presentation, the applicant and/or the applicant's representative may address the commission. As an applicant, if you agree with the staff report and have no additional information, please feel free to keep your comments brief. Any relevant comments are welcome. Following the applicant's presentation, I will make a call to the public. If you wish to address this case, please state your name and address. We ask that your comments be limited to 3 minutes or less. Comments must be relevant to the case. Please address all comments to the commission. No matter how strongly you may feel about the case, all comments must be respectful. After all interested public have spoken, the public comment portion will be closed. Discussion will then take place amongst commissioners. Decisions of this commission regarding any zone change or preliminary subdivision plat approval are referred to the Board of Supervisors as recommendation. All other case decisions are binding unless appealed to the Board of Supervisors. If you disagree with the commission's decision, you have 15 days to appeal. Please contact the Community Development Office for appeal procedures. Due to the virtual nature of this meeting, I will be doing a roll call vote of the commissioners to ensure accuracy for the record. We ask that you please mute your microphones and turn off your cameras. Additionally, the message function of this platform is for communicating technical difficulties only. It is not for case discussion. Thank you for joining us this evening and actively participating in our county planning. All right, first item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. McNeely, will you please lead us?
Absolutely. Thank you, Madam Chair. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. I would also like to remind the public to please mute your microphones. All right, second item on the agenda is approval of the October 29th, 2025 minutes. If there are no corrections, I'll entertain a motion. Vice Chair Wilson?
Madam Chair, on page 8, I believe it is, yes, page 8, there is a sentence that begins with Mr. McNeely about halfway across or halfway down the page. It says the state to allow ADUs with foot setbacks. There should be a 5-foot setbacks there, and that would be pretty important if somebody wanted to call us on that. So I would make a motion that we approve the minutes after adding in word 5 to foot setbacks as presented.
All right. Do I have a second?
I second that.
Okay, so I have a motion for approval with the modification by Vice Chair Wilson and second by Commissioner Walsh. All those in favor, Commissioner Berger?
Aye.
Commissioner Walsh?
Aye.
Commissioner Williams?
Abstain?
Commissioner Best?
Aye.
Vice Chair Wilson?
Aye.
Commissioner Tohi?
Aye.
Commissioner Leslie?
Aye.
Okay, this is Chair Burton. I also vote aye. Motion passes. Third item on the agenda is a call to the public. Is there anyone in the public who wishes to address the commission for items not on the agenda? If so, please raise your hand. If you're on a phone call, go ahead and speak up. Okay, not seeing any. That brings us to our public hearing portion of the evening. So the first two cases on here are pretty par for the course. So the first one is CUP-25-055. That's RV as a permanent residence on a 1-acre lot. And the second one is CUP-25-56. Do any of the commissioners wish to discuss either of these this evening? Okay, these are both recommended for approval. Does the applicant or their representative wish to address the commission on either of these cases? Okay, is there anyone in the public that wishes to address the commission on either of these first two cases? Okay, not seeing any. If we're ready to make a motion, we'll need two separate motions, one for each CUP.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion. Do we need two separate, or can we do this as a, oh no, I'm
You
forgetting
can,
the word.
you can do it as one. Just
Yeah.
make sure you
I
list
make a
both.
motion that we approve CUP 25-055 and CUP 25-056 as presented.
I second that motion.
Okay, I don't know who got there first.
Pick one.
I'll give that one to Commissioner Walsh. All right, I have a motion for approval by Vice Chair Wilson and a second by Commissioner Walsh. All those in favor, Commissioner Berger,
Aye.
Commissioner Walsh,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams,
Aye.
Commissioner Best,
Aye.
Vice Chair Wilson,
Aye.
Commissioner Tohi,
Aye.
Commissioner Leslie,
Aye.
and this is Chair Burton. I also vote aye. Motions pass. All right. Third item on the public hearing is DRO-25-005. Staff, please proceed with your presentation.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the commission. This case is the Wicked Welding Manufacturing Warehouse Design Review, DRO 25005. In this case, the property owner is WW Loop LLC of Flagstaff. The applicant is Garrett Rianoso of Flagstaff. The location of the property is 7019 Loop Road. It's within the Donny Park Timberland Fernwood Plan area. The zoning is IH 6000. That's heavy industrial, 6,000 square foot minimum parcel size. That's the heaviest industrial zone we have. And the property size is 10 acres. And the request is a design review, also known as the DRO, for a 20,000 square foot manufacturing warehouse with an attached 1,914 square foot office building. And it also includes landscaping, lighting, and signage. This is the vicinity map showing the subject property. As you can see, this is Donny Park over to the west, Townsend Winona Road and Loop Road that goes off of that. And this is the property within this industrial area. And this shows the industrial area. So it's a nice square right here, all heavy industrial, adjacent to an AR 2.5 zone to the south. And this is the subject property. This is Western Trust to the north. And this property apparently used to belong to Western Trust as well. The site plan showing the site. So this is the entrance. Obviously, it's the driveway coming in. This is the larger building with the office attached to it on the side right here. So in this case, I want to talk about the colors and materials first. So for the warehouse, the manufacturing warehouse, the walls would be metal PBR. And that is in Regal White, which is actually a light gray color, as you'll see with the illustrations. The roof is material called Galvalume, and I don't know how to pronounce that, but that's as close as I can get. That's a metal alloy, and it would be metallic gray, and then the trim would be midnight gray. The office walls would be a smart siding with a polished concrete color. That's a medium light shade of brown. And the office roof would be architectural shingles with a carbon color. That's a really dark gray. An alternative to that might be a what we call a standing seam metal roof, and that would be burnished slate color. And this is the east elevation of the building. And the one that best shows the colors. So you can see the Regal White would be on the building. This would be the trim, the midnight black. Sherwin-Williams polished concrete would be on the attached office building. This is actually, I believe, this is the back of the building, the east elevation. And you can see architectural shingles, and this is that standing seam, which they might want to use as an alternative. This is the west elevation, so you can see this is the front of the building, so you can see the work that is in here. It's like an open beam system just for a little bit of architectural effect. This is a side elevation, the south elevation. And these are colored elevations to give you a little bit better idea. Unfortunately, these, I'll just say, aren't the best, but they do give you a little bit of an idea of what the building would look like in those colors. This is their landscape plan, so there are some existing juniper trees and pine trees on the property. It's just a few little scattered trees, and they would put more trees along the frontage to meet the standard in the code. And they would also have some around the parking area here. Now, keep in mind, this is just preliminary plans. We would have an actual landscape plan that meets standards. Including this is along, as you saw earlier, this is along a residential zone boundary line right here. And this is the kind of fence that would be required for that. Apparently this was done when this belonged to Western Trust. So they already have this solid fence along here. They would be required. They have a little bit of land, you have some existing landscaping here, but they would be required to do landscaping, a 10-foot landscape strip along this entire length right here. And this is their signage. It's basically got this steel beam around it. It's all steel, and it's a nice kind of brown color with these red highlights. So that would definitely meet the design guidelines. Their lighting plan is a little bit preliminary as well, but they are indicating they would have amber fully shielded fixtures, and this would have to go through the whole review with the lighting permits. So it would meet standards once it went through that entire permitting process. So in terms of a DRO analysis, this is a large building, 20,000 square feet, pretty large, plus the add-on, which makes it a little bit larger. It is an industrial area, and that's an appropriate place for a large building. It does have steel beam open truss design on the office, which reduces the apparent mass of the building. The design provides variations in roof forms between the office and the warehouse. So the siding provides a textured appearance with light brown and gray colors that blend with the site. And this site is in an industrial area. It is away from the forest. So your typical greens and browns wouldn't be included here. That would be near a forest. The lighting would be shielded. That's consistent. Shielded and amber, which is consistent with the design guidelines. They're proposing pinon trees and cliff rose shrubs. Those are local plants for this area, so that's appropriate for landscaping. And just a reminder, a DRO does not have any findings. To approve a DRO, the commission simply has to approve the design review. The commission must determine the development is consistent with the Donny Park, Timberland, Fernwood area plan design guidelines. I did link those in your staff report. With that, staff recommends approval of DRO 25005 with the recommended conditions. Are there any questions from the commission?
Vice Chair Wilson.
Mr. Short, could you go to a slide that shows the property line between this property and the residential area? A plat plan, maybe?
This shows it, but so does this one. So this is the property line. This is the industrial on this side, the AR 2.5 on this side. There is a development here. And this parcel is completely vacant. This
So
is
the
one that-
landscaping that you mentioned would be along that south border?
Yes, the fence that I showed is already here. Apparently that was a requirement. I have not looked this up, but it appears to be a requirement for Western Trust back in the day. So there's a fence along this entire border. Landscaping is required because there is a buffer requirement. I think I brought that up in the staff report between a residential zone and an industrial zone. Now, it
Because I'm not
doesn't.
seeing,
Yes.
okay, I'm not seeing that on their drawings that they submitted, any landscaping along that southern border.
No,
Am
they
I
didn't.
just not-
They didn't have any, so that was conditioned in the staff report.
Okay. Thank you.
Are there any other questions for staff? Yep, Commissioner Best.
When we get these landscaping designs, can we assume that there is some sort of irrigation or something to keep them alive? Is there any follow-up on that? These
Yes,
are-
there is.
Our native
And-
plants that they will not survive without water.
Yes, in this case, I know in the Belmont case we had recently, there was not any water available. This area is on the Donny Park water system. So they do have water available. And if you can look way down here at the bottom, irrigation drip, and it kind of describes that this will have a drip irrigation system, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Best.
Okay, any other commissioners have questions for staff? All right, I'm not seeing any. Thank you. All right, does the applicant or their representative wish to address the commission, make any additional comments?
My name's Garrett Reynoso. I don't have any additional comments. I mean, I agree with the Department of Community Development's recommendation. So I have nothing further.
Okay, can you restate your address real quick for the record?
Of the project or my address?
Your address, your office address, either one is fine.
3905 Huntington.
All right, thank you. All right, is there anyone in the public who wishes to address the commission on this case? If so, please raise your hand. Okay, I'm not seeing any. I'll open it to commission discussion. Do any of the commissioners wish to discuss the case further, or are we ready for a motion? I think we're probably ready for a motion. So if that's the case, then I'll
make
that.
a motion.
Is that Commissioner Williams?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve DRO-25-005.
I'll
And
second
I'll go
that.
ahead and
Okay, I got Commissioner Williams for first and Commissioner Best for a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Commissioner Berger,
aye.
Commissioner Walsh,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams,
Aye.
Commissioner Best,
Aye.
Vice Chair Wilson,
Aye.
Commissioner Tohi.
Aye. Sorry about that.
It's okay. Commissioner Leslie.
Aye.
Okay, and this is Chair Burton. I also vote aye. Motion passes unanimously. All right, final public case tonight is PZ-AM-25-03. Staff, if you want to go ahead.
Thanks, Chair Burton. Melissa Shaw, Long Range Planner with staff, has a presentation for that. So Melissa, if you want to go ahead and share your screen and we can give this presentation.
Thank you, Jess. Good evening, commissioners. Melissa Shaw, Long Range Planner with the county. I will share my screen in a moment. This is case number PZAM 25-003, adopting the Flagstaff Regional Land Use Plan 2045 as a minor amendment to the Coconino County Comprehensive Plan. And just a quick summary. So this planning area includes the Flagstaff Regional Land Use Plan boundary, which is the entirety of the Metro Plan boundary, the Metropolitan Planning Organization for the greater Flagstaff region that includes the city of Flagstaff and the unincorporated communities of Belmont, Kachina Village, Mountain Air, Donny Park, Timberline, Fernwood. Belmont's listed again, and also portions of the Parks and Fort Valley 180 corridor area plans. The size is approximately 525 square miles. All zoning districts are represented in this planning area, and as well as all of the supervisor districts. And the applicant is our department. And then with that, we'll just go right in and talk about what is the regional plan. So the Flagstaff Regional Land Use Plan serves as the general plan for the city of Flagstaff, as well as being an amendment to the Coconino County Comprehensive Plan. And just as a reminder, the current regional plan, the plan that's in place today, was adopted by the county in 2013. And just a little bit more about the planning area. So when we think about the regional planning area, it's approximately 2/3 of the county's total population lives within this region. So, and then this counts all of the incorporated areas of the county. In 2020, there were approximately 145,000 residents within Coconino County. About 97,000 of those live within that region, including those in the city of Flagstaff. So, and then just again, a reminder of the unincorporated communities of the county that this includes: Donny Park, Timberline, Fernwood, Belmont, Kachina Village, Mountain Air, and then portions of the Fort Valley 180 Scenic Corridor and a small portion of the Parks Area Plan. And this is a visual then of where the region sits within the entire county. It's this purple rectangle, and then the zoom in on the right shows you the the layout of the entire region. It's very symmetrical. And this boundary has been in place for many years. It is the Metro Plan planning boundary. And so that is the boundary that this plan and then all the previous regional plans have been based on. And so then just talking a bit about how the county uses this plan, the Flagstaff Regional Land Use Plan, it is consistent with how area plans are used by the commissions because it's an amendment to a comprehensive plan, and the current regional plan is used as a guide for land use decisions. And now this regional plan has parcel-specific land use designations, and we'll talk a bit more about that in a bit. We use that when evaluating rezoning requests, subdivisions, conditional use permits that are within the Flagstaff regional planning area are evaluated. The goals and policies are looked at from the regional plan as well as an area plan, as well as a comprehensive plan, and evaluated against those projects. And then also through the action items. This is just a larger view of the future growth illustration, and we'll talk a bit more about this in detail, but wanting to just land here for a second and have you look at the list on the right under the future growth illustration and the different designations for how the parcel specific labels are applied across not just the city, but in the county as well. So you can see by this lighter kind of coral pink color that much of the county is designated as rural neighborhood. And then you can zoom in. There are some red places Those represent essentially a rural center, which essentially mimics the existing zoning in our county. And just to talk a bit about how the regional plan was organized, because it is somewhat different from how the comprehensive plan was organized, in that the core and complementary priorities are described in Chapter 2. And then all of the goals and policies for each of the priority areas are in Chapter 3. So they're all in one chapter. And then it goes on in Chapter 4, where we talk about the future growth illustration, the image that we just looked at, the character descriptions, which describe the different categories, the building blocks that go into those, the compatible zoning districts, and then the density ranges. So that's in Chapter 4. And then following that, Chapters 5 through 11 are more detailed information for different chapters, for instance, water resources, natural environment, community services. You can find details about that in the subsequent chapters. And we want to talk a bit about, and then again, in Chapter 2 of the regional plan, we talk about the core and complementary priorities. And you all have seen this image before, but what this shows you is that the two core priorities are housing attainability and equity and climate action, complemented by 4 additional priorities: a walkable mixed-use community, natural and cultural resources, a healthy economy, and then resilient public services and facilities. And so we'll talk a bit now. We'll just look at each of these priority areas and then the goals that support them, knowing that with the goals, there are policies. We won't go through every single policy, but I thought it would be helpful to look at the goals, and then we'll look at those again in relation to how they align with the newly adopted comprehensive plan goals. And so under housing attainability, there are, you can see the goals here, but there's a goal specific to housing attainability where we're looking across the region to supply secure, accessible, and attainable housing for existing and future residents. There's also a neighborhood and equity goal where we're looking to foster development and revitalization of sustainable, inclusive neighborhoods. And then with that, prioritizing accessibility and diversity of people and housing. The cost of development goal supports this by looking to diversify financial strategies to support needed infrastructure development and housing production. And then the final goal here you see is applicable to the city only. And you'll find this throughout the regional plan where some of the areas have 2 goals, where one might be city only or county only, or there's a similar topic and they're a split goal between city and county because we have different resources available, different government structure, different services available. So the plan does distinguish those capabilities. And then another example is right here under the second core priority goal of climate action, where the city has a specific climate action goal that focuses on carbon neutrality, whereas the county's climate action goal focuses on supporting and advancing goals and policies that address and respond to climate change. And then also with that, there is an energy goal for the region where we're looking to increase and diversify use of renewable energy sources. Regarding growth management, looking at future development and infrastructure uses land and water resources efficiently and are built to mitigate impacts of climate change. A transit goal, which is where we're simply looking to increase transportation availability. And then finally, multimodal, we're looking for different choices, a variety of affordable and accessible transportation options to reduce reliance on single occupancy vehicles. And then we can move into those complementary goals. So this slide shows natural and cultural resources and then walkable mixed-use community. And you can see that there's a goal supporting and promoting development patterns that support attainable housing. A transportation system goal that creates inclusive, safe, and complementary continuous transportation systems. Accessible parks and recreation. That's an important goal both for city and county. And then natural resource stewardship goal, where we're looking to steward natural resources using scientific, social, economic, and cultural best practices. A cultural resource goal, looking to maintain within the region an enduring and unique sense of place, celebrating diverse ecosystems and community heritage. And then finally, an outstanding open space parks and parks goal, where we're looking to conserve natural and cultural resources with purchasing and designing parks and open space. And then the last two complementary goals, healthy economy and then resilient public services and facilities. There's a healthy economy goal. There is a employment district goal, which talks about protecting a supply of land to accommodate needs of existing and future employment and manufacturing. There's a goal specific to the airport, supporting Pulliam Airport and maintaining that as a hub for passenger air freight and public safety and firefighting operations. There's a freight and rail goal because, as we know, we have a train system that goes through the area and it supports our economic vitality. So there's a goal supporting that. Looking over to public services and facilities, and you'll see again, we have two goals for water resource management, one for the city. The city is a water provider. The county is not. And so very different focus. You can see that both of these are looking to maintain a balanced water supply. The city is focused on maintaining their 100-year water adequacy, where with the county, we're looking to maintain a balanced water supply within our statutory authority, looking for social and economic well-being while we're supporting that same sustainable regional hydrology. And then there's a goal for water quality and stormwater management, a resilience goal. This looks across the government operations region-wide to reduce risks of natural and human-caused hazards. There's an infrastructure goal where we're looking for public facilities, services, and infrastructures that serves the entire population and demographics. And then public safety goal. We're looking for high-quality emergency response and public safety services, including law enforcement, fire, medical, and ambulance transport. So again, then we'll just looking again at the future growth illustration, and keeping in mind that this will be available in a much more detailed view in terms of a more interactive map. So staff and public and decision makers will be able to look at this and zoom in and see parcel specific designations in order to understand what that future growth illustration means more specifically. And then so let's talk a bit about what that means for the county. There were some questions during last month's study session about Camp Navajo and why it was designated under the University and Research District. And you can see here, and this is right out of the plan, that it talks about university and research districts are places for industry, tourism, research and development, and education, with the idea that they're master planned areas, and they have many features of employment districts, but are usually anchored by institutions, or a medical institution or a military use. So clearly Camp Navajo is a military use, and they are continuously thinking about different ways to reimagine their operations. So this is a good fit for that area. And then kind of coming home to our rural areas. So the rural center image, and I think that you saw this last month as well. So the plan has images to give a visual idea of, in a general sense, what the future could look like for these areas. Again, it doesn't change existing entitlements. It doesn't take anything away. It just provides more visual detail for if there was a rezoning in a rural center, which is based on existing again, the rural centers right now are based on existing zoning, but if there was a rezoning case or a conditional use permit that proposed a new use, then this would give an idea of some of the amenities and features that would be looked at and encouraged for that project. And then another category of that land use map. So again, just to go back up here, you can see under this, in this middle section where we talk about landscapes, this federal lands and working landscapes, the lighter green area, which surrounds much of the region, is just this. It's their federal lands managed by a federal land management agency or Department of Defense, or also state lands. So these are working landscapes. So you can see, you know, the Forest Service is doing obviously a lot of work to do forest restoration. They could be used for different mineral extraction, recreation. So there is a lot of, they're not just a natural area, but they are also working landscapes. So this does give some guidelines for future development of those lands. And the Forest Service and state lands, they have looked at this category very carefully and have actually endorsed that this is that this works for their planning efforts as well. And so this is now we'll start looking at the regional plan and adopting this as a minor amendment to the county's comprehensive plan, which was, as you know, just adopted by the Board of Supervisors last month. So we'll be looking at the newly adopted goals and policies in relation to this Flagstaff regional plan. And so there are 8 criteria that we evaluate minor amendments by in terms of adopting them as a minor amendment. And the first one is that the amendment constitutes an overall improvement to the county. And, you know, as we have seen that the Flagstaff region is the major population center for the county, it has changed and grown since 2013 when the current plan was adopted. And so this new plan responds to those changes by addressing future growth in the goals and policies in the future growth illustration. And so it does improve the current 2013 plan. Criteria B is that the amendment will not adversely impact a portion of the county or the existing character, either the physical, visual, environmental, or functional of the immediate area. And so just talking again about the future growth illustration, it is parcel specific that mirrors existing zoning designations of the county, and therefore maintains the existing rural character of many parts of our county, or in places like Belmont, it does mirror the more suburban density of residential development in those other areas. Approval criteria C, that the amendment is supported by, and I crossed out our vision for the future because that was the name of our previous comprehensive plan. It is now Vision 2045 and other goals and policies. And so adopting the Flagstaff Regional Land Use Plan is supported by Envision 2045 goals and policies. And we'll talk about that more after these next 2 slides. Criteria D is that the requested change benefits the county or a specific community. This is a required 10-year update of the Flagstaff Regional Plan. Remember, it serves as the general plan for the city, and statutory requirements do require that cities, towns, and counties go through that 10-year cycle to update these plans. And so it benefits county communities by bringing goals and policies into alignment with current conditions. And it meets all the statutory requirements of a general plan, which actually go beyond those that are required for the county. So we're getting a pretty thorough update for this. Criteria E is that conditions have changed substantially since the last update, and that conditions may involve surrounding land uses. As we've talked about, the growth within the region and the county has increased substantially since 2013. The combined challenges of population growth, the housing shortage, and increased housing costs are addressed by the new regional plan. Criteria F is that the property or concept was misinterpreted or overlooked. This is not applicable to this update. Criteria G is that the amendment will effectively help implement the plan's other goals or vision. And so if we look at the regional plan's vision, it states, as the region evolves, we commit to preserving our unique character, embracing our rich history, and safeguarding our precious natural resources. Through these efforts, We aim to foster a resilient community and vibrant economy where all residents have the opportunity to thrive. So that's the vision for this newly updated Flagstaff Regional Land Use Plan. And that's compatible and very complementary to our newly adopted comprehensive plan's 3 core planning priorities. Remember, there are vision statements and value statements associated with each of our 3 core planning priorities, but I just, for brevity, included the planning priorities here. So for the county, maintaining the county's rural character and lifestyle by managing growth and development that provides infrastructure and opportunities for a resilient economy and equitable and accessible housing is one of the 3 priorities, as well as protecting the natural environment, water quality and supply, and restoring forest health. And finally, providing responsive public and emergency services and infrastructure to the county's diverse communities. And then criteria number H is the final criteria that the identified site is appropriate for the use. Again, this is not applicable. And then we can look, this is the next several slides. This goes back to the approval criteria C, which is amendment is supported by Envision 2045 goals. And so then we'll look just very at just the goals of the new comprehensive plan. There are a lot of policies that also support this. Those are listed in the staff report, but just for brevity on the slides, I just included the goals so we can see how these nest together. So for land use, which is part of our rural lifestyle value, the comprehensive plan has 2 main goals. The first one, maintain the county's varied cultures, rural character, and resilient lifestyle. And number 2, conserve open space, working ranches, and unfragmented landscapes. You can see then the regional plan's core priority goal, neighborhood and housing equity, is that within the region, we're fostering the development, revitalization of sustainable, inclusive neighborhoods, prioritizing accessibility and diversity of people and housing. The growth management goal looks at future development and infrastructure in the region, uses land and water resources efficiently. And then the development pattern goal is looking for the region to promote development that supports attainable housing in a resilient and sustainable community. So they're not identical, but they're similar, very similar in the intent. Moving on to circulation, transportation, and remember this analysis is based on the Coconino County's comprehensive plan style and organization.
Ms. Shaw,
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Could you go back 1 slide? And I have to ask the same question I did the last time. Are you looking for input on any of this as you're reading through it? Are we supposed to be saying, you know, we agree with these individual thoughts, policies, goals, principles? Or is this just a general informational kind of a thing?
Vice Chair Wilson, this is your public hearing on the regional plan. And so this will be tonight, we're holding the hearing and you'll be making a recommendation then.
But are we discussing the plan itself, the details of the plan? And in your presentation, are you expecting us to hold all of our questions till the end? Because there is so much material here, I can't imagine how we could do that. Nor do I imagine how we could go through each slide individually and not be here until tomorrow. But for instance, on this particular slide, it references the rural character as one of our goals, yet none of the Flagstaff Regional Land Use Plan priorities listed below seem to address rural character. And so my question is, are you looking for inputs or updates to this from our perspective, since we'll be one of the primary users of it? Or is this just a presentation of what it is, and at the end we can either vote thumbs up or thumbs down and that's it?
Vice Chair Wilson, I think you have several options, and I think that one thing I did not mention earlier, and this is an important point, and thank you for actually raising this, is that the regional plan has gone through City of Flagstaff approval. So their planning commission and the city council have approved the Flagstaff regional plan based on what you're seeing tonight. Interestingly, the 2013 plan, regional plan, when the county adopted it, they approved a slightly different version of the regional plan. And so if the commission feels that there should be modifications to any of the goals and policies that you're being shown tonight, that would be an option. We would, from a planning perspective, it's not as easy to host two different plans. It would be very, and from a planning perspective, again, it would be important to, and it would actually be easier for staff if the documents aligned and if they were the same goals and policies. There are policies that I did not list on the screen of the comprehensive plan that show how these are actually very supported by goals and policy of the comprehensive plan. And we did go through some of these at the study session last time. But yeah, if you've got questions on these, then we can certainly work to answer those tonight. And if you have a recommendation in the end that changes this, then we will figure out how to do that. Ideally, we have the same plan going forward.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. McNeely, do we have to go through this as exactly as a public hearing? Because if so, we need to hold everything, all questions until after Ms. Shaw's presentation's done.
Yeah, so Chair Burton, this is the public hearing. So as you know, this has been like a 3-year process to update the Flagstaff Regional Land Use Plan, and with a lot of public input. And this is the result. You know, this is the plan. And we obviously have kept the commission informed throughout that entire process. And the commission has had full access at any point they wanted to participate and to observe the draft documents as it went forward. So certainly, I mean, this is trying to, in the public hearing, as this is the public hearing, to give you a recommendation, give a quality, thorough overview of what is this plan, right? So it is important that we're able to give a presentation that describes, you know, the plan to you all. And then open it up for public hearing. And then certainly, I mean, I think we're certainly open, and Melissa's very adept at facilitating. So if there are questions as we go along, that we certainly could answer questions as we go along. But you know, this is a pretty unique hearing. You get one of these every 10 years on, you know, the hearing. The actual public hearing following numerous study sessions that you've had to update, you know, to adopt or make a recommendation to the board for adoption of the Flagstaff Regional Land Use Plan as an amendment to the comp plan.
Okay,
Does that
so
help?
I just wanted to clarify if commissioners could raise their hand and ask as the presentation's going, or if they need to hold their questions until the end. And also to clarify that, you know, we're still going to ask the public if they have any input, any thoughts on this. And then are we doing a commission discussion? I just want to know, are we following the exact same outline as our normal cases?
Absolutely, yes. Following the
Okay.
same outline. Yes.
All right, well
Definitely
then
doing a
let's follow the
discussion.
exact same outline as all of our cases. And as you have questions, please just mark down on a piece of paper the slide and the question you have, and then we'll ask Melissa once she's done with the presentation, if that works. All right. All right. Thank you. Ms. Shaw, please continue.
Thank you. We left off talking about moving into the circulation and transportation goals. So for the comprehensive plan, we're looking to design, maintain, and manage a circulation network and transportation infrastructure that is safe, efficient, complementary to local communities, and minimizes impacts to the environment. as well as looking for active transportation facilities, multimodal circulation networks, and connections to support alternative modes of travel are available countywide. So these are two goals right out of the newly adopted comprehensive plan. And then the regional plan's core priority transit goal is that the region increases public transportation frequency, safety, accessibility, and services. There's a multimodal transportation goal where we're promoting a variety of affordable and accessible transportation modes to reduce reliance on single occupancy vehicles. And then a complementary goal where we're creating a safe, inclusive, comprehensive, and continuous transportation system that provides access, mobility, and efficient transportation options. Moving on to resilient economies and housing. The comprehensive plan has a goal to create a resilient and vibrant economy that supports diverse county communities by fostering long-term economic growth and a robust environment for businesses, as well as a wide range of housing choices that is available to all county residents. The regional plan has a core priority goal of housing attainability and equity, and the region increases the supply of secure, accessible, and attainable housing for all existing and future residents and provides affordable housing in every neighborhood. And a complementary healthy economy goal where the region creates and maintains a vibrant and diverse economy for all that supports a thriving workforce, innovative businesses, and expansion of compatible new industries. Moving on then to the next, the stewards of the natural environment value. So for natural environment, we have several goals here. One is to conserve wildlife in their habitats and movement corridors, conserve and restore native plant communities while controlling populations of invasive and noxious weeds, and then promoting healthy forests by restoring forest ecosystems. Those are comprehensive plan goals. And then with the regional plan, there's a complementary priority where the region stewards its natural resources using scientific, social, economic, and cultural best practices. And then our parks, open space, trails, and recreation goal for the county is to provide a variety of recreational, cultural, historical, and open space opportunities throughout the county. And then complementary to that is the accessible parks, recreation, and open space goal, where the region's system of parks, open spaces, community centers, which support public and environmental health, provides diverse recreational needs, is accessible to all residents and visitors, and is interconnected by trails and greenways between Flagstaff, regional open space, and other county communities. And then still within our natural environment value, we move to the sustainability, resilience, energy, and climate goals of the county, where goal SR2 is to increase energy efficiency and the use of energy. Number 3 is that the county mitigates and is resilient and adaptive to climate change. And number 4, increase food security and access throughout Coconino County. And then, as you saw briefly, that there is a county-specific climate action goal where the county supports and advances the goals and policies designed to address and respond to climate change. And then there's an energy goal where the region increases and diversifies its use of renewable energy sources and systems while planning for infrastructure needed to support an expanding and evolving electric grid. And then for water resources, the county's water resource goal number 1 is to maintain a sustainable water supply that protects the natural environment and ecological systems for future generations. And then we have a county-only water resource goal in the regional plan, which seeks to balance water demand and water supply for social and economic well-being while supporting sustainable regional hydrology and meeting ecosystem needs. And finally, then moving to the diverse communities and services value in our community services and public safety goals. The comprehensive plan looks for effective and affordable public, vocational, and higher educational opportunities available throughout the county. It looks to coordinate delivery of emergency services and response to meet the needs of all communities. Looking for a high level of fire protection and safety that is provided throughout the county, as well as maintaining a high level of emergency preparedness to effectively respond to disaster and recovery efforts. And from the regional plan, then we see that there's a priority infrastructure goal of the region providing sustainable and equitable public facilities, services, and infrastructure systems in efficient and effective manner to serve all population areas and demographics. And then a public safety goal where the region provides high quality emergency response and public safety services, including law enforcement, fire, medical, and ambulance transport. And then lastly, in our diverse cultures and community character goals, the county's goal 4 in that chapter is that the county's historical, cultural, and architectural heritage is protected and conserved. And then the complementary cultural resource goal from the regional plan is where the region maintains an enduring and unique sense of place that celebrates its diverse ecosystems and community heritage. And then we'll just talk a bit about the public comment received on the regional plan. As just mentioned, the regional plan was developed over more than a 3-year process. It had extensive and robust public outreach, including we had multiple meetings in multiple county locations. We had a large mailing list, and then there was also, and this is just a very, very truncated summary of the public outreach. There was a very detailed response to all of the public county comments that came in during the 60-day review and all of the public hearings on the regional plan. We did receive one comment. It was addressed to the Board of Supervisors that came in with a comment to the board on the comprehensive plan. So you all received that comment. We have no change recommended based on that comment. And as of this evening, we've had no other comments received on the regional plan being adopted as a minor amendment to the comprehensive plan. And this is the last slide. So staff does recommend that the Planning Commission forward PZAM 25003, a complete 10-year update to the Flagstaff Regional Land Use Plan, to the Board of Supervisors for approval as presented. And we're happy to answer any questions or go back to any slides as needed.
And just to be clear, this is just the update to the FRLUP, right? So if the commission didn't move forward with recommending, the original FRLUP still applies?
So if,
I'm just
depending on your
throwing that out
recommendation, pardon me?
there. I'm just throwing that out there just for clarification.
So Chair Burton, depending on your recommendation, either for approval or not for approval, it will go forward to then public hearing with the board, and then they will hold a separate public hearing on this. But until action is taken on the regional plan, the 2013 regional plan will remain in place.
Okay, that's just the clarification I wanted to make. All right, Commissioner Best, you have your hand up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, I have a number of questions. Why don't I ask one or two and then let other people ask, and maybe I can come back. I don't want to take up too much of time without other people pitching in. One question is, will we see any basic change in what we do? Over the years, I don't remember elements of the regional plan being brought up in Planning and Zoning Commission hearings within the boundaries of the regional plan very often. Maybe I do remember one rezoning case, but we certainly have lots of cases out in Donny Park and Mountain Air and Kachina, Belmont, and we don't see goals and policies from the regional plan. Is that going to change at all?
Commissioner Best, I am familiar with several cases that came forward to the commission where they were presented to the commission. Staff does look at those, and if there was something that needed to be brought to the attention of the commission, then I know that would have been brought up. But I think that that Jess can probably add to that. But I know that staff does look at all of the area plans as well as the comprehensive plan, as well as the regional plan in cases where they're applied. And I would want to mention also Sarah Dector is with us tonight, and she can also add some clarification if you've got questions on the regional plan itself. So thank you.
And I would also, I'm going to add to that question, does the fact that the regional plan is now parcel specific, does that change how we will be dealing with both the comprehensive plan and the regional plan in the deliberations of the Planning and Zoning Commission? Because before, as I understand it, it was not parcel specific. Is that correct?
That's correct. It was not parcel specific. And I see Sarah's got her hand up and can add to that. But what this does, the current regional plan does provide land use designations, future land use designations. They were harder to read. This is now easier, so that we'll be able to zoom in and see parcel specific. But if it's all right with you, Chair Burton, could we ask Sarah to add her comments to that as well?
Yeah, that's okay.
Thank you, Chair. To answer that question, I want to state a few things about the current regional plan. So first, the current regional plan, it's not parcel specific. And so there are locations where it required staff interpretation to determine what area and place type applied to a property. For instance, if something was close to the edge of one of the bubbles that was the activity centers in the Regional Plan 2030, a planner would have to make a call and say it's in or out of the activity center based on a couple sentences of criteria that were provided in the plan. There are also locations where there was kind of a choose your own adventure option where parcels had two future land use categories applied to them. For instance, the West Route 66 area had a significant area that was both future suburban and future employment. And that no longer happens. You are starting from one place, there's no choice to be made, and then an amendment is required based on what changes you might be requesting if you request a plan amendment. So I think that just adds a lot of clarity to it. Now, if someone comes in and they've combined a bunch of parcels and they want to change categories, they'll just go through the amendment process like they would in many other cities. I think the current plan is the one that was outside of kind of the norm of how most of these maps look in Arizona. Did that answer your question? Can I add anything else to help you?
I'm to some degree, and thank you. I still am not quite sure. I think this means that we will see more of the regional plan. That is my guess, but we shall see. Another question I have is a little more procedural. The city and county work together, specifically Ms. Dector and Ms. Shaw, to craft really both plans. They were working together. There are common goals, obviously: housing, transportation, sustainability, forest health, the economy. Are we closer to having the county and city working together on a staff level to realize these goals, since they are so intertwined? You know, the city and county within the boundaries of the regional plan. There's of course a city boundary, but people drive across it every day and don't know it. So is this going to help us coordinate better at the staff level and policy level between the city and the county?
Commissioner Best, this is Melissa Shaw. I will say that for both the regional plan and the comprehensive plan, there are many what we'll call action items, if you will, in the implementation sections that call for that very coordination that you're describing. So
Good.
in the future, there are many of these, as you say, commonly themed goals that would require that continued regional coordination, because that is going to be key for seeing both plans move forward together. I don't know if Jess or Sarah wants to add to that.
Well, I agree, and I hope that by working together for so long and putting so much into this, that we do have coordination, so we are supporting each other toward common goals. I mean, one thing that jumps out is, are we going to get bus service out to Donny Park? That sort of thing. And I know it's difficult, but if we're working at the staff level, housing is another issue where how do we coordinate how we look at housing across the line? And I think it's very important that we do so. Thank you. I'll
Thank you.
let it go now, and maybe I'll have other questions.
Okay, are there any other commissioners with questions for staff? Yep, Vice Chair Wilson.
Knew you couldn't get away with it. I'm looking at the slide right now. So the two primary priorities of this plan are housing attainability and equity and climate action. Am I reading that correct?
Yes.
Those are equal. Those are equal
Yes.
goals for this plan.
Yes.
Okay. Mrs. Stechter just brought up the concept or one of the issues that the parcel specific zoning or details affect when there is perhaps dual use for a piece of property. And if a piece of property was dual used with both residential and business, and as a result of this new plan, we have now apparently somehow picked one or the other that property will be, have we affected the value of that property and therefore put ourselves at risk of having to compensate the owner?
So, Vice Chair Wilson, are you referring to the future land use map, the future growth illustration?
Right.
Yeah. So none of the existing entitlements were changed by these designations. So in other words, they mirror existing zoning.
That only happened in the city then? Because my understanding from Ms. Stechter was that there were some that were dual purpose until this plan.
Well, that was the previous, or rather the current regional plan for the county,
Mhm.
where apparently some of the areas, and I don't have an image of the current future land use map, but it almost looked more like a watercolor, if you will. So it wasn't parcel specific, it was kind of broad brush colors. And so
Okay.
at times it was hard to see, and there were some overlap there. It wasn't a zoning designation. So no, we wouldn't be taking anything away.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. It appears these plans that we've been reviewing here now for the last few months, they have lots and lots of goals, but there's not a single metric that we can use to determine whether we're meeting any of these goals in any of these plans. And so we really have no idea if we're being successful at all when we draft a plan, and therefore when we modify a plan, where we should be focusing efforts to make improvements based on results from the original attempt. Is there any type of metric that determines performance of these documents?
So Vice Chair Wilson, I'll speak to the comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan has the implementation plan with specific action items. And that for the county is one way that we will be looking to measure the progress of the plan, because those are then directly tied to goals and policies. With the regional plan, then there are also action items that, and I see Sarah has her hand raised as well. And I know that every year, both the city on a separate process and the county on a separate process have reported back to the commission and to the board the updates and the progress that have been made on achieving those action items. So there aren't specific numbers associated with this, but those action items do tell us a story as far as how we're moving forward to get the plans implemented.
So did we
Chair Burt-
use those, metrics from the 2013 plan as we were crafting this?
They have changed, and I'm going to ask if it's okay if Sarah helps answer that question, because my understanding is there were 97 metrics, and that was not moving the plan forward. So the approach changed in this plan. So Sarah, did you want to add on to that?
Yes, thank you. I'll see. Can I share my screen, Melissa? I'm not sure if I can or not.
Yeah. I will stop sharing.
No, I just wasn't sure if I had permissions. I was just going to show on the screen Appendix A is where annual reporting is found in the plan. I think this is maybe what you were looking for. We did used to have an annual report for the city that covered 97 metrics. And we've taken that down to 10 because it was a very big staff burden, and we were monitoring a lot of metrics that didn't move dependent on the regional plan. The county may choose how they want to report on these metrics, and they may cumulatively report on them with the city. We haven't worked out on the details on how to do that, but these are your 10 key reporting metrics.
Okay.
You're
glad to
always
see there
welcome
are
to add
some.
more. Yeah,
Glad to
they
see
just
that.
were
Okay.
maybe not in the place you expected.
Thank you. Ms. Shaw, another question I have, and we touched on this last month. Do the energy goals include in sustainable energy nuclear power as an option?
It's not specifically listed, but it is not something
Are
that
any others? Are solar
In-
and wind listed?
the plan talks about renewable energy, and the energy goal right here under climate action, the region increases and diversifies its use of renewable energy sources and systems. And while at the same time planning for needs to support an expanding electrical grid. Mhm.
Yeah, was this one that brought up this question? Renewable energy sources, is that defined somewhere, and does it include nuclear?
The renewable energy does not include nuclear per se. And, the renewable energy sources are particularly focused on solar and wind and geothermal. It doesn't exclude nuclear if that could be considered a renewable energy source. This is a very locally crafted goal, and it is something that the local community was very strongly interested in having included in the plan.
Well, I'm not suggesting that we don't need renewable energy. What I'm suggesting is it needs to be expanded to include all the choices, especially because nuclear is apparently growing quickly. And I would hate to see that left out.
I don't believe it would prohibit it as long as it could be in alignment with all of the other goals and policies. So although it's not specifically listed, and I'm looking at the definition right now, renewable energy, and I don't have it up to show you, but it's energy from sources naturally replenishing but flow limited. Renewable resources are virtually inexhaustible. Major types of
that would not include nuclear then.
It's listed here. Major types of renewable energy sources are biomass, wood and wood waste, municipal solid waste, landfill gas, biogas, biofuels, hydropower, geothermal, wind, and solar, as defined by the U.S. Energy Information Administration. And I see Sarah's got her hand up again.
Thanks, Melissa. I'll swap sharing with you for a second too. I'm sort of navigating the document in the background while Melissa navigates the slides. So thanks for bearing with us while we switch. I think Melissa covered that well. You'll see in the definition, sometimes the plan says as as defined by this administration or this government agency. And if that government agency changes their definition, we purposely had that language in there. So like, let's say they decide nuclear needs to be considered a renewable, it would automatically kind of add itself to the definition. But the one I wanted to point out to you here, because nuclear is not specifically called out anywhere, is this policy DP.3, which says keep standards up to date on emerging land use issues that support housing attainability and carbon neutrality, such as legislative changes, short-term rentals, and carbon dioxide removal. But this is meant to be broader, and it can include things like new technology or any of those things that might be considered an emerging land use that ties to those two core priorities. So that's where I would go as a planner. If it's not like called out specifically anywhere else, policy DP3 was meant to be kind of the catch-all of those things that like I can't predict how that technology will play out, but here's our spot to catch it.
Okay, out of respect to the rest of the folks here, I'm gonna drop this, but I'm very disappointed that we didn't include a power source that is rapidly expanding right now and might very well be one of the best options in this plan. And Ms. Shaw, you mentioned the letter that we had received today, and you said no changes were recommended. So are you saying that there were none of the issues identified in that letter were valid?
The letter raised several important points, and I can share that right now.
But no, you don't have to. I'm just asking the question. I mean, if you're not I want to keep this as brief as I can.
Sure.
If you're recommending no changes based on that letter, then my understanding is nothing in that letter justifies a change, and so none of those are problems.
That's correct. Looking at the different points in that letter, there were some inaccuracies in the what the letter was stating. So there were no changes based on those.
Okay. Thank you.
Are there any other questions from the commissioners for staff? Yep, Commissioner Best.
One metric that I've been following that's easy to get to, and one of the two core values in the regional plan, if you do a computer search for the Flagstaff housing plan, you'll see that the first page of it is a couple of graphs that show how we're doing. And it's very informative. So I would recommend that you take a look at that. There's issues that I tried to get into the regional plan that I failed on, but some I got in, and that's the way life is. But I'll bring up one because years ago, when Ms. Shaw was out in the rural parts of the county and all over the county, talking to folks, hosting meetings about what should be in the comprehensive plan. She mentioned that the concept of responsible tourism was sort of a new idea that came up. And it's just what it says. We want tourists, and we want them to respect the land and the cultures of Northern Arizona while they enjoy their time here. And I tried and failed to get that into the regional plan, and I think it is mentioned several times in the county comprehensive plan. So I guess my question is there anything in the regional plan that can be, a regional tourism program, and we've done, I think, a lot of good work with our campgrounds, and that's what I'm talking about, trying to get people to appreciate where they are and take good care of it, both by explaining to them some of the values of Northern Arizona, the indigenous history, the natural history, the settler history, and also explaining to them how they can preserve that. The more they appreciate it, the more they can preserve it, and we can present both sides of that story. So I'm wondering if there's anything in the regional plan that would help. I'm obviously very interested in the city county working together towards these goals at the staff level. Is there anything in the regional plan that we could hook onto as it's written now that might help us get a responsible tourism program, ethic, policy going, so that when people arrive, whether they arrive in the city or the county, they are given information that helps them to appreciate and understand and value where they are, and it helps them explain how they can protect and preserve those values. And I could go on and on with examples, but it's getting late, so that's the simple question. Is there anything in the regional plan that helps us with responsible tourism?
Commissioner Best, thanks for that question. And there is, in the regional plan, there is not a specific policy addressing responsible tourism. However, in the county's comprehensive plan, because the county is far larger, the county obviously includes many of those tourist destinations. So there is a policy and an action item in the comprehensive plan that addresses responsible tourism. And that would include working with our other partners on that issue. But I do understand that the city's economic development department, if you will, they have a different name, does have a plan, a tourism plan. And so, quote, responsible tourism is addressed specifically and separately, not in the regional plan, but it's addressed by another department in that sense. And I know Sarah can maybe add to that, but so the city is aware that tourism is an issue and getting messages out to tourists is important, but it's addressed in a different plan, a different document.
Okay, yeah, I think Sarah wanted to speak, but I think it would be a great thing, a lot of the assets are in the county, but a lot of the people arrive at the city. So
Right.
If in every hotel and every motel and every coffee shop there were leave no trace, that sort of thing, and explanation of indigenous history and values. And I just had somebody come to my home, and his mission was to come to Arizona and find arrowheads and take them back to Georgia. And he needed a little educating. So
That may be more driven by the comprehensive plan.
mhm. So I've said enough. I've made the point, and so that I'll talk to you about that department, and if I can muster the energy, I'll maybe try to take it a little farther. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Commissioner Best, if I may, I did put the link to the city's economic development strategy, which is newly adopted, in the chat. It's on the chooseflagstaff.com website if anyone would like to see the document Melissa was referring to.
Thank you very much.
Are there any more questions for staff? All right, Commissioner Best, your hand is still up.
It always is.
Okay, since the applicant is the one who made the presentation, we can skip the applicant's additional comments. Is there anyone in the public who wishes to address the commission on this case this evening? If so, please raise your hand. All right, okay. I have a Mike Popejoy. You please state your name and address, and you will have 3 minutes to make your comments. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Hello, my name's Mike Popejoy. I live at 3030 Forest Hills Drive, off Highway 180. I just wanted to highlight a relatively minor point regarding the regional trails plan. There's a map in the Flagstaff regional plan that is the regional trails plan, and it includes two different kinds of trails, what are labeled as existing regional trails and planned regional trails. And I have a concern just with the existing regional trails layer. That includes some unauthorized trails, and it also includes some lines on the map as trails that don't actually exist on the ground. And I had raised this in the previous process, and I think something along these lines was included in the conditions of approval document that City Council approved. And since that, some changes have been made to address what I think of this as sort of like a mapping issue, especially in the Mount Eldon Dry Lake Hills area north of the city. But there's many areas where it hasn't been addressed, and there's still unauthorized trails shown as being part of the plan, and ones that don't actually exist on the ground. And so my request was just to see if there's a way to address some of those remaining inaccuracies that are still in the map, especially since most of these are outside of the city of Flagstaff, and the majority are on Forest Service land, but not all. So that was my brief request. I know it's a minor component of the plan, but happy to elaborate further if folks have any questions or clarifications. But thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, thank you. I want to keep going and see if anyone else in the public has any additional comments. And then I would like to bring, during commission discussion, actually bring the public concerns back around to our staff. So is there anyone else in the public who would like to address the commission on this case? Okay, I'm not seeing any others, so I'm going to go ahead and close the public comment portion. And I would like Ms. Shaw to address the concerns that were brought up by the public as far as inaccuracies with trail mapping.
Thank you, Chair Burton. And I am showing, I believe, the map that Mr. Popejoy was referring to. The version that you're seeing here was the this is the public hearing draft. So actually, no, it's not. This is the version. This is the updated version of the map. And I do believe that those connectors and those trails that Mr. Popejoy described were addressed with the updated map. But I'm going to ask Sarah to clarify that.
Thank you, Melissa.
Yeah, there you see the legend right there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you're correct that the city council's one of their conditions of approval was they called out 2 areas of the map where we should go back and look at existing and planned trails at the regional level, which we did and we updated. Unfortunately, our 30 days to update this map was 100% within the time of the federal government furlough. And so we only could work with the data. I saw someone laugh. I get it. With the data available, we were not able to go back to staff, our federal partners, and do some verification that we had wanted to do. So because of that, if Melissa will scroll to the bottom, we made sure, and we had pre-talked about this with the Forest Service folks before they went on furlough, thank goodness. But we added this additional disclaimer in response to Mr. Popejoy's comments, which he also made at the Planning and Zoning and City Council public hearings, that delineation of a trail on federal or state land does not imply authorization to proceed with construction or implementation of such a trail. Specific trails proposed must meet requirements for permitting, etc. So basically making sure people know if it's on this map and it's not actually authorized by the federal agency, or if for some reason it is decommissioned by the federal agency, this map might not change, but that doesn't, it doesn't override anything to be on this conceptual planning map. And that was based on a letter from the forest supervisor that was sent to the city and county as part of updating the Flagstaff Trails Initiative strategy, which is what this map is based on.
All right, thank you, Sarah. Vice Chair Wilson, did that, I know you had started to raise your hand. Did that address what you were starting to raise your hand?
Well, I was going to ask if Mr. Popejoy had a recommended source of a more accurate map that he's aware of that we could use. But it appears we're currently using the best available, and I guess we gotta live with that.
Commissioner Best?
I've been in a number of trails discussions in the last couple of years, and another issue is showing trail alignments, whether existing or planned, across private property. And needless to say, some private property owners are not happy when that happens. And I thought we had gotten to a point where there were going to be different colors, and the colors are going to be identified. I don't know if this map has trails across private property that don't have easements yet. But you're definitely, if you put the trail on a map, people are gonna look at it and use it. And if it's across private property, I think that's an issue. While we're talking trails, another issue is what can happen on a trail. I am seeing in the trails by my house, people riding bikes uphill without pedaling. As bikes develop into motorcycles, we need to get some guidance at trailheads and maybe on these maps as well. I know some of the trails on this map are downhill only in one direction, pretty much bikes only. So if you're a walker and you start going up one of these trails, you could have a bad experience. So I think this is a bigger conversation, but I hope we're having it somewhere. Thank you.
Okay. One thing I'd like to ask Ms. Shaw, just like we do with our zoning, is it possible if things come to light before the next 10-year update, can minor amendments be, made to this plan if something, if big red flags come up or anything arises? Is that an option for the county in the future?
Absolutely. All of these plans have amendment processes that would be, we would follow the county's process for amending the plan, but you're absolutely right. And then just to address some of the Commissioner Best's questions about the trails map. This map was developed very carefully with consideration of anything that was not planned, rather not existing. Those are all shown as existing trails through existing easements, or if it's planned, then having, something that will either be in an easement or with the agreement of the property owner. So there's nothing here showing that is on private property that the property owner is not aware of. And again, the disclaimers down here talk about, the planned trails, for instance, on state trust land, do not constitute the final location or legal access. So there was a lot of conversation about this. And if you kind of do the squint test, you'll see a lot of this is on federal land or public land. And just to comment about, I totally understand the concerns with the uphill and the downhill speed of bikers. That has to be addressed by the land management agency. The county and the city do work with them hand in hand, but there are a lot of other issues that are just bigger than what the regional plan or the comprehensive plan can address in terms of e-bikes and things like that. So yeah, thank you. I hope that helped to answer the question.
Ms.
Thank
Decker.
you very much. Yeah, that does help, and it's great to know that we don't have a private land issue. And I don't know who can help the Forest Service do what they need to do. They have not very many people and a lot of real estate. So whether the county and city trail folks can help with that, I don't know. I noticed that trailheads near my house talk about no ATVs. They don't mention bikes. I have seen in Sedona, I've seen Forest Service signs about pedal assist and fully e-bikes. So I'm sure the Forest Service knows the issue, but they just may not have the wherewithal to deal with it, and maybe the county could help, or the city.
I know it's a topic of national conversation.
Yeah.
All right, I think Ms. Decter would like to add something additional.
Thank you, Chair Barton. I just wanted to state that Commissioner Best is correct that there is a different map with different categories of trails. It's the urban trails map. It's the page before this one, Melissa. And this was the map that was very heavily discussed at the retreat and in June, and then again in October. It's had a lot of discussion of just how to display maps when they're crossing this many private lands and within the city limits primarily. So this is the urban trails plan, and that's the one that has like the different categories of planned with existing property rights, planned without them, and then the large properties where we plan them. And really that the City Planning and Zoning Commission even offered an alternative approach to this that council ultimately decided to go back to the conclusion of the discussion that was had in May. Just to bring that back around, because you mentioned it.
And just to clarify, this is primarily within the city limits. And then this one.
Do these trailheads have signs about pedal assist and full electric and all that? It seems like it's changing every 6 months or every year, what the types of bikes. So the concern is that once everybody's used to using it, getting back to pedal only, if you're trying to do that, could be impossible.
Okay, Commissioner Williams.
Actually, if somebody has another comment about the trails map, why don't they go ahead of me, because I have a question about a different map.
Okay, Melissa, do you have anything further to add for the trails?
Oh, just to follow up in that in terms of the different classes of bicycles, I know that our Parks and Recreation staff look at that and have signed county managed trails to only where only certain classes of bikes are supposed to be ridden on those. So just it's something that our Parks and Recreation staff are dealing with as well. So that's all I wanted to mention.
Okay, thank you. All right, go ahead, Commissioner Williams.
Melissa, could we go back to the map that had all the land use colors or zoning colors?
Yes. So I have the regional plan open. If you I will scroll to that. It just maybe not look at the screen while I'm doing that, so it's not so blurry.
Why are there things we're not supposed to see?
No, it's just I don't want anyone to get dizzy.
Oh.
Okay, so here we go. This is the image that was in the presentation.
Okay, yeah. So the future land growth, so in the county, where my property is right on the very northern end of the city boundary. And it's rural residential 2-acre minimum, which is all the property around there is pretty much zoned that, all the pink stuff, except where my property is and my neighbors to the east, now it's designated as the same zoning as across the street, like Valley Crest, like a regular neighborhood. So what does that mean for the future? Like, is all of our property going to be, you know, down zoned or up zoned, or is our property, which is probably 6 or 7, well, maybe no more than that actually, it's yellow amidst all the pink, and it's no different than, you know, I mean, it's in the county and it's 2-acre minimum zoning.
Let me get to the legend.
I think it's over on the other side.
Yeah, on the right. Sorry, I'm going in the wrong direction for that.
And I asked this question at one of the joint meetings, but
Yeah,
I made a
thought-
note of it on the map, but it clearly,
Is this the area? Can you see the
Yeah.
cursor? Is it this section right here that you're referring to?
yes.
I think this was updated, I believe. And so I remember your comment at the retreat, and it was in regard to this. So I do believe this was updated to be the same pink color as the surrounding pieces.
Okay, because it should be. I mean, I don't know why we would be singled out to be the same zoning as the medium density neighborhood across the street. So,
Right. And so that is something that we'll need to look into.
Okay.
Correcting the map. And I do see Sarah's got her hand up if she had anything to add.
Yes, Melissa, I think this area is yellow. We did not make any changes to this. I don't know if it just didn't get communicated to Kelsey to make that edit or what happened with that. But I do know this area is currently part of an activity center in the current plan. So the current plan actually allows more density than making it a suburban neighborhood.
this is
And I was
not
always
an
kind of
activity. The darker pink is where
Right.
the gas station is, and there's a number of
Correct. But
acres that were commercially zoned years ago, and that gas station is on part of that. That belongs to the Stilley family. I'm talking about to the east on Schultz Pass Road. It is not an activity center, let me tell you.
So in the current plan, it is designated as part of an activity center. That's what I said, not this plan, not the revised plan, but the current plan identifies it as an activity center, as part of an activity center, because we have that dot and quarter mile bubble system. Because we were not parcel specific at that time, if you'll recall. But I'm not sure why it ended up suburban here. If the county, there is a administrative, I don't know if Melissa can show you chapter 2. There is an administrative category that if the county makes a change to the plan within an area of their administrative jurisdiction, that the city could adopt it administratively at a later date. Excuse me. I think it's at the end of chapter 2.
Sorry, I'm looking at
it.
Yeah, I do recall
But
that
I
this was, sorry.
I don't know if these are categories for the city of Flagstaff, but I assume the county is also going to use these lists of administrative changes. Is that correct, Melissa?
Well, right, we did talk about this. So this number 3 right here changes to the future growth illustration adopted by the city or county within their respective authority, which can be incorporated into the other jurisdictions plan without further amendment. So we could change this to match the surrounding suburban, or rather rural residential neighborhood based on this administrative change category. Yes.
Correct. But I don't think we could change it before the ballot initiative. I think the city would have to ratify it and then change it administratively after the ratification. I can check on
actually
that.
Changing the map itself.
Correct.
We will
Even
look
though-
into that.
Even though I
Yeah.
brought that up months and months and months ago.
Right, yeah.
This sure
Yeah, I'm
sounds
not
like
sure
what I
why
brought
I
up
mean, I
earlier.
just-
didn't
I
make
just
it
don't
on the
want- value.
list.
Time to go along, and then it's like, oh, your property's a activity center, or your property, you can now put 4 houses on it or 6 houses on it, or I mean, it's just, it's not right. And so, you know, it's just not right. So
It sounds to me like we're wanting to request this, because I don't disagree with you, Commissioner Williams. So it sounds to me like we're wanting to request a modification to that map
yes,
tonight when we make a motion. I 100% support that.
yes, thank you.
Okay, did you have anything further? Are there any other, like, is there any more commission discussion? Do we know the specific, aside from Commissioner Williams' request to update the map to be more appropriate in that particular area, are there anything else, is there anything else that we want to make a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors this evening regarding this plan?
Madam Chair, if we're updating maps, I think we should take another look at the trails map and make sure that that is as accurate as it can be also.
Okay, so would you like to put something in there that says that you would like the Board of Supervisors to do, or the staff to do further analysis of the map for the
Right,
Board
I
of
think
Supervisors to
before the
review?
Board of Supervisors sees it, it should be, we should validate that map and make sure that it is as accurate as possible that we currently have, so that what gets approved is currently accurate, just like with the land use map.
I think Melissa had said that it is as accurate as we can get at this time. But that's also why I wanted to bring up that we can make amendments later, but Ms. Shaw does
Right.
have her hand up. So do you want to chime in?
Yes, thank you, Chair Burton. I just want a clarification on you were referring to Vice Chair Wilson of the trails map, and specifically, what would the question be in terms of how to review that for accuracy? Because it was based on the existing Flagstaff Growth Initiative, as well as the city's urban trail
So
system map.
Yeah, the issues that were identified, which is trails shown on that map that cross private property, would be the number one thing. Ensuring that we don't do that.
All right, we can take another look at that. But I know that both of those maps did have a lot of scrutiny, and we can double check that.
And I do
you.
recall the issue coming up at the retreat. And I know that posting private property and putting up gates and stuff was discussed, but again, that doesn't necessarily deter people. So I do see the concern. Ms. Decter, you have your hand raised.
Thank you. Yes, so the private property issue, there are trails shown that cross existing private property on all of the trails maps. And the reason for that is how we request that new trails be constructed through neighborhoods in and around Flagstaff. So it helps us in the subdivision process, both the city and the county, to get dedications for trails to show that and they're not always located in the exact location. Sometimes the trail can be rerouted around the private property with some assistance. Sometimes it's just a portion of the property, or it can be aligned differently. So I do think that we have very thoroughly addressed the private property issue. I think where I thought you were going with that comment was addressing the existing trails issue on other lands. I'd just like to say that doing that would require amendments for both the city and the county, because it's not an available administrative change category.
And to be clear, did the Forest Service and the State Trust, they have reviewed the maps?
The state land
And approve
department
them?
has, the state land department has reviewed the maps. The Forest Service reviewed the maps in the spring.
Right.
But I was not able to get them to review it in the 30 days between council passing the resolution, and there's always like a clock in the resolution, right? The clock ran out and everybody was still on furlough. So I could not get a final review from the Forest Service because of the federal government shutdown. And but they had reviewed it several times before that. What I did go back and do with the condition that council placed, excuse me, sorry, I've been a little sick, with the council placed on October 9th, was I went back to all the decision documents. So when the Forest Service does authorize trails, they publish a notice of decision. And I verified that every area that had a authorized notice of decision or a map or a trail that was actually listed on the website was accurately portrayed. There's a lot of gray area in there too. So it'll evolve over time, like all trails maps will. It's the best information we have up to this point, though.
Okay. Commissioner Best.
I just wonder if we can commit to a process. I think this has all been already approved by City Council, so that puts Ms. Decter and all of us really in an awkward situation. But I think if we could understand and commit to maybe as an action item, reviewing the trail system to make sure that it is accurately portrayed, not on private property, accurately signed, if we can get the Forest Service to respond, just that there is a process going forward, and maybe there is one already, to make sure that this actually happens. But I think trying to change things at this point with a public vote coming up and then having to communicate that, and that vote's coming up in May, I think. So I'm rambling a bit because I don't quite know how to do it, but I would definitely support some process, not necessarily getting everything done in the next 30 days or so, because I don't think it's possible. Thanks.
Right. Which is why I was emphasizing earlier about being able to do an amendment, at least on the county side. So it's important that we have that process in place, because that means it's not all said and done and can't ever be changed again. So Ms. Shaw, you have your hand up.
Yes, and just to follow up on this conversation, and I just wanted to point out again the disclaimers here, that the depiction of the planned trails on state trust land does not constitute final location. And then also that designation of planned trails does not constitute a final location or legal access unless there's a legal trail. So there was discussion about, the lines on this map. And I know a lot of these were based on for instance, the Forest Service Trails Initiative and the data that they provided for this. But the disclaimers do indicate that those alignments, nothing is going to be exactly perfect for this map. This will evolve as time goes on. And as Sarah pointed out and corrected my earlier statement, that some of these alignments do show across private property to make those connections. But of course, anything across private property would require an easement in the future if there is a development plan with something shown on it, because it is a strong value in both the comprehensive plan and in the regional plan to provide this trail system, a connected trail system for residents. So I think these disclaimers are extremely important to understand that the map cannot show every single exact alignment at this point in time, that we will have to continue to work on it as time goes on, and it will change.
Thank you, Ms. Shaw. Okay, so it doesn't sound like we necessarily need to do anything with the trails map, because it sounds like that is a constantly evolving thing. And a general guideline, not an exact science as it's presented now, according to the disclaimers as well. So is there anything else that we feel need to be recommended outside of Commissioner Williams' point of a miscolored section on the map. Okay, it's kind of sounding like we might be wrapping up this conversation and ready to move forward with a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors. If that is the case, I would need a motion to also include the modification to the map. Who wants to do that?
I'll do that. I'll say that we approve PZ-AM-25-003 with a modification to the future land growth map, changing the county parcels on the north side of Schultz Pass Road from yellow to pink.
I believe the motion has to be a recommendation to the Board of
a
Supervisors, right?
A recommendation. That's what I meant.
I was going to clarify that in wrapping it up. Yeah. Okay, I just need a second now.
This is Commissioner Walsh. I second the forward of the PZ-AM-25003 as stated by Commissioner Williams to the Board of Supervisors for approval.
Okay, so we have a recommendation for the Board of Supervisors to adopt with the modification that Commissioner Williams stated regarding the land use map. And I have a second by Commissioner Walsh. All those in favor, Commissioner Berger?
Aye.
Commissioner Walsh?
Aye.
Commissioner Williams?
Aye.
Commissioner Best?
Aye.
Vice Chair Wilson?
Nay.
Commissioner Tohi?
Aye.
Commissioner Leslie?
Nay.
Okay, this is Chair Burton. I will also vote aye. So the motion passes with 6 yays and 2 nays. All right, let's go on to, we have another call to the public for items not on the agenda. Is there anyone in the public that wishes to address the commission for items that are not on tonight's agenda? Okay, seeing none, and we do not need a continuation of the study session. It is 7:27 p.m. and the meeting is adjourned. Have a good night, everyone.
All right.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night, all.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Good night.